a body parts found in the trunk of a Tesla owned by the singer David. We now know who the victim is in this case, and there are a lot of twists and turns.
A tow yard worker lifts a trunk and everything stops. The smell, the shock, the silence, then the headlines. A Tesla sits in an impound lot, street-ticketed days earlier, now the center of a case that no one can quite look away from. Inside, investigators make a tragic discovery involving a teenager who'd been missing for over a year. The registration points toward a fast-rising artist, and the internet does what it always does. It races ahead of the facts. But if you strip the noise back to what's verified, you're left with a tighter, colder question. How did a child end up there, and who moved that car from the curb to the lot? The first public clue landed on one date. The last, if it comes, could change everything. Authorities say it started with a foul odor reported at a Hollywood tow yard. Officers checked the front trunk, a detail that surprised people who didn't realize a front compartment even existed, and made a tragic discovery that required careful processing and delayed formal identification. After several days, the medical examiner identified the teen as Celeste Rivas Hernandez, 15. What specifically led to the tragedy wasn't immediately established, which left a gap big enough for rumor to sprint through. To the family, that gap wasn't content, it was agony. To the public, it felt like the opening scene of a mystery that kept adding pages by the hour. The only thing that gave the story velocity beyond Los Angeles was the registration line. The vehicle was tied to the legal name of an artist millions already knew from social feeds and streaming charts. That name supercharged the timeline, but the timeline was already strange. A ticket written days before the discovery placed the Tesla on a neighborhood street long enough for parking enforcement to notice it more than once. Think about the implications of that. The car had to be moved at some point, either by a city process or a private tow responding to a complaint, and yet whatever happened to the person inside had already happened. The date on the ticket isn't just ink. It's a pin in the calendar that investigators can compare against phone pings, camera footage, and anyone's claim about where they were and when. This isn't a novel where a dramatic confession ties it all together. It's a study in small times and small distances. A curb, a ride, a gate, a clipboard, a key.
I media trained you. That's controversial.
It's controversial of kids.
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Oh my. Delete everything. Delete everything.
While the internet debated lyrics, detectives went looking for data. A search warrant was executed at a residence linked to the vehicle's movements. If you've never watched a real search unfold, it isn't glamorous. It's logging devices, pulling drives, bagging cables, and making lists. Reports said electronics were collected, which is exactly what you'd expect in a case where location histories, message threads, rideshare receipts, and cloud backups might matter more than any one eyewitness. Publicly, law enforcement has not named a suspect. Publicly, the artist's side emphasized cooperation. Those two realities can sit in the same line. In the space between them is where people tend to misread what's happening. A search is urgency. An arrest is conclusion. And until officers cross that line, everything else is caution tape stretched across speculation. But speculation thrives when art and reality blur. Older interviews resurfaced in which the artist describes a character, an alter ego built around pain, conflict, and darker impulses. Fans rewatched moody videos. They combed through lyrics that once felt like fiction and now felt uncomfortably close to real life. Some pointed to titles that sounded eerie in hindsight. Others warned against the trap. A song isn't a sworn statement, and cases aren't solved by vibes. So here's the clean way to frame it. Rumors suggest overlap, but authorities haven't said the art is evidence. That doesn't mean themes don't matter. It means you file them in a mental folder labeled context, not proof. If a prosecutor ever references a track in court, it'll be as part of a larger mosaic, not the tile that decides the picture. Meanwhile, the online rabbit holes multiplied. A clip from a live stream here, a screenshot of a comment there, and a dozen threads trying to connect one Celeste to another person with the same first name. Viewers flagged posts with dates that made their stomachs drop. Others surfaced secondhand claims about private chats or community servers. Some of it looked troubling, some of it looked like coincidence wearing a mask. None of it has been officially confirmed. The responsible move is simple but unpopular. Treat these items as unverified unless investigators confirm them. Curiosity is human. Certainty is earned. And if the last few years have taught anything about viral cases, it's that the truth survives the wait. The hot take doesn't. Strip the screen away, and you find an entirely different pace. In Celeste's hometown, people gathered with candles and pictures. They said her name. They told stories. They stood next to classmates who will carry this with them into every adult relationship they ever form. Parents left those vigils and checked their kids' phones with a new kind of caution, not fear of a single artist or a single app, but concern over how fast a parasocial bond can harden into a private reality, one that feels more persuasive than any rule, any curfew, any lecture from someone who loves you. That doesn't make parents perfect or teens naive. It makes the space between celebrity and audience crowded with invisible threads. Threads that technology makes easy to spin and hard to cut. The industry questions showed up right behind the grief. People asked whether teams around rising stars actually know who slides into DMs, or whether the machinery that sells mystery is built to ignore warning signs until they become PR fires. Fans asked why a community can spot patterns in comments and still miss danger in real life. Critics argued that we've normalized aesthetics of darkness, funeral-style props on stage, morbidity as a mood board, without thinking about the youngest viewers watching from the back row with their hearts wide open. Then someone wiser stepped in and said, "Art has always used shadows. The issue isn't darkness, it's duty of care. Who steps in when the performance ends? Who draws the boundaries when attention becomes oxygen?" Back in the investigation, the unglamorous details matter. If a device was collected, you don't just see what's on it, you preserve it, image it, verify it, and keep chain of custody pristine so defense can't explode the case over a technicality. If messages are recovered, they'll be placed on a timeline next to traffic cameras, next to toll transponders, next to app logins, and biometric unlocks. If a ride took place, the metadata will say who called it, what card paid, which driver accepted, and whether a dashcam saw anything. If a neighbor's doorbell caught a plate, that's a breadcrumb. If a friend's text contradicts a posted alibi by 15 minutes, that's a crack that widens. None of this is cinematic. All of it is how cases move. And then there's the car itself. A Tesla is a computer with wheels. Even without dramatics about assisted driving, these vehicles create logs, connections, charges, updates, geofence pings that can often be subpoenaed or recovered. You don't need a confession if the car has a memory, but you still need the law to say those bytes were acquired correctly and interpreted honestly. Defense strategies often hinge on contamination, mislabeling, and time gaps. Prosecution strategies often hinge on showing a clean clock and a clean path. This device left here, this plate appeared there, this phone moved with it, and this person's account contradicted both. If there's a case to be made, it will be made on a foundation of minutes and meters, not headlines and hashtags. For viewers drowning in details, the clean summary looks like this. Known: the teen is Celeste Rivas Hernandez, 15. Known: a tragic discovery was made on September 8 in the front trunk of a Tesla that had been ticketed days earlier on a city street before landing at a tow yard. Known: the vehicle is registered to the legal name of an artist widely known online. Known: law enforcement executed a search, collected devices, and has not publicly named a suspect. Unknown: what led to the tragedy. Unknown: where and when the pivotal incident occurred. Unknown: who moved the car and at what hour. Unknown: which online claims, if any, will become admissible evidence. You can feel outrage, sorrow, and impatience in every unknown. But if you care about a just outcome, you let the unknown stay unknown until they're not. There's also the part we pretend is separate but isn't. Digital safety, especially for young fans. The modern fan experience doesn't end at a concert gate. It lives in private messages, chat servers, and special access that can feel like a fairy tale when it's healthy and a trap when it's not. The fix isn't fear-mongering, it's teaching fluency. Teens who know how boundary-crossing behavior actually unfolds, not in a warning poster, but in their own digital language, see the hook before it sets. Parents who learn the platforms can spot patterns without turning every conversation into a crackdown. And celebrities who mean it when they talk about community can set public boundaries that close back doors for those who don't. If you're still wondering whether the art matters, here's a balanced way to hold it. Dark themes can be cathartic, honest, even necessary. People in real pain find themselves in those songs and feel less alone. The issue isn't the existence of shadow, it's how we handle it when real-world behavior starts to rhyme with fictional lines. Labels, Managers and friends can choose hard conversations over easy applause. Fans can love the music without defending the indefensible. Journalists can cover a story without turning rumor into reality. And creators can remember that millions are watching, many of them young, and every bit has a half-life longer than a tour cycle. Where does that leave this case? Somewhere between a curbside ticket and a courtroom, between a family's terrible certainty and the public's impatient guesses. If a breakthrough arrives, it'll likely come from the places that don't trend. A lab, a log, a timestamp, a witness who finally returns a call. If no breakthrough comes, the unanswered questions won't be solved by louder threads. They'll sit heavy, the way unsolved things do, shaping how people think about safety, stardom, and the parts of fame we don't see from the pit or the timeline. So here's the part that matters most. A child should be alive. A family should be planning birthdays, not memorials. The internet can keep score and pick sides and invent villains. The investigators can't. They have to build a bridge of facts sturdy enough to carry the weight of justice. Until that bridge exists, the honest way to speak about this is careful. Reports claim, rumors suggest, it's been said, and authorities have not confirmed more than that. That's not hedging. That's respect for the truth, and for a girl whose name should have been spoken at a graduation, not a vigil. If you've stayed with me this far, you're probably waiting for one final twist. A secret thread that ties everything up. There isn't one, not yet. What exists is a narrow strip of daylight between what the public is certain of and what the evidence can carry. When the official update comes, it won't just tweak the narrative, it will move the ground under it. Until then, be wary of certainty that arrives without documents. Be skeptical of posts that pretend to be files. Remember that not every lyric is a confession, and not every coincidence is a conspiracy. And hold space for Celeste, for her family, and for the quiet, methodical work that turns a story into a case, and a case into answers.